Hello everyone. So over the last few issues of Source of Truth, we have talked a lot about trust, validation, feedback loops, and architectural design. For this issue, I wanted to explore something slightly different. So we all know how AI generates, but have you ever wondered how AI remembers all this stuff? Because one of the biggest realizations I've had while studying these modern AI systems is that AI does not fail because it lacks intelligence. Very often it struggles because it lacks trusted context. And that is where retrieval augmented generation or RAG starts becoming really interesting. Today, I wanted to explore how trusted organizational memory can become part of AI reasoning, helping you gaining intelligent insights in really fast time and with accuracy. So, you must have all noticed that when we interact with large language models, it feels like they know everything, but actually, they don't know your organizational data or your particular subject on focus. They do not understand your internal decisions, your governance controls, your standards, and your business definitions, or even the realities that evolve every quarter to quarter. So that is creating an interesting separation. On one side, we have general intelligence, which is the broader knowledge of the full universe, and on the other side, we have organizational intelligence, which is the context that only exists inside systems, people, and accumulated institutional memory which has been collected over the period of time. So now the question becomes, how do we connect these two safely? One thing I've realized is that truth inside organizations isn't singular. There are layers to it. Some truths are static, some continuously evolve. So policies evolve, metrics evolve, their interpretations evolve. AI systems cannot operate assuming all information has equal reliability. This is why architecture matters, because architecture decides which truths become visible and impactful. When we talk about RAG or retrieval augmented generation systems, usually we take it as something like retrieving documents and attaching them to prompts. Technically, that is true, but I think that explanation misses something deeper. So, RAG isn't retrieval, RAG is a controlled contextual trust. So, it is deciding what information should influence the model, what should remain hidden, and what deserves to become organizational memory. Embeddings. So, this is one of my favorite concepts. Machines do not understand language, they understand numbers. So, before retrieval can even happen, language must be transformed. So, embedding models convert these meaning into mathematical representations. So, it is not just definitions, it is also relationships. The system isn't asking word is this, but it is rather asking what does this resemble. So that is where retrieval begins. Similarity search. So once information becomes embeddings, the system can now compare the meaning behind it. So not exact wording, it's the literal meaning. So this means that two concepts can basically sit closer together in terms of mathematical representation, even if the words themselves are completely different, and that changes retrieval entirely. So instead of searching for exact matches for the keywords, the system is now searching for conceptual proximity, which could be calculated using different models or uh, different accurate measures. The physical foundation beneath all this intelligence. So this part fascinated me a lot while studying AI systems. Everything we are talking about today, embeddings, transformers, retrieval, it all feels abstract, but underneath it's actually physics. At the lowest layer, billions of transistor level state transitions are happening, which are sending electrical signals with the help of semiconductors. So all these modern GPUs are executing enormous volumes of mathematical operations in parallel, from electricity to computation to vectors and to reasoning. Layers after layer of abstraction is happening. Let's look at the retrieval layer. Now, the retrieval layer becomes the bridge. A user asks a question, and the question becomes an embedding. The system is going to search for the organizational memory, then it retrieves the context. That's when the generation starts happening. That is a very important shift. The model isn't generating from isolation anymore, it is actually generating from a very grounded memory. So, this is where governance starts becoming important, because retrieval itself isn't automatically trustworthy. If the underlying data is fragmented, the AI simply retrieves better noise, and that is very dangerous because scale amplifies quality problems, not just productivity. This is where our earlier concepts of net negative values start showing up again. So, if retrieval is the mechanism, then organizational memory becomes the foundation, and this connects directly to the Medallion architecture. Raw signals become refined, refined signals become trusted, and finally, the trusted signals become reusable. Eventually, the organization builds a memory layer. This was one of the strongest realization for me. Gold layers don't simply support AI systems, they actually stabilize them, because retrieval quality can never exceed source quality. If trusted information enters, better reasoning emerges out, and if unvalidated information enters, the noise compounds and it becomes more and more effective as the time progress. So one thing that often is overlooked in AI conversations, it is the infrastructure. Enterprise AI rarely runs as one model. It actually runs through orchestrated systems, which are containers, vector stores, pipelines, security controls, and governance. So the architecture becomes the mechanism that protects trust. So when hallucinations happen, it isn't always obvious. Sometimes they look plausible, and that is why trust matters more in regulated environments, be it finance, audit, healthcare, or risk. So here we are talking about cost, which is not just wrong output, but it starts becoming operational consequence as well. So here this feels like a major transition happening in AI. Older systems used to just retrieve information, but the new systems are going to reason better. But reasoning without governed retrievals actually becomes or can create instability. So the future may not belong to systems who are generating the most, but the systems that are continuously refining what they are retrieving. So if there is one idea I'd leave you here with, it's this. We have spent decades learning how to store information. Now we are learning how to retrieve trust, because in the age of AI, advantage may not come from having more information, it may come from knowing which information deserves to be trusted. So thanks for joining me for issue 6 Source of Truth. I'd Love to hear your thoughts and continue learning together. Thank you.